with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, otherwise known as the UNODC, to launch the Advanced SXM Rehabilitation Program at the Point Blanche Prison. This is a 4-year program and is for a total cost or an initial investment of 3.8 million euros, and it officially began on August 1st. It will bring long overdue structure, support, and opportunity into our prison system, not only for the inmates, but also for our prison staff. For too long, rehabilitation and professional development has been treated as something we wait to implement until infrastructure is ready. We're choosing a different approach this time. We're beginning now, investing in people, strengthening the ministry from within, and putting the right systems in place before we move into any new facility. Through this program, rehabilitation efforts will extend beyond inmates. While inmates will receive access to education, vocational training, mental health care, and structured reintegration opportunities, a significant focus will be placed on the people that hold our systems together every day. This is our prison staff, of course. Correctional officers will benefit from specialized training and professional development aimed at strengthening daily operations, boosting morale, improving long-term retention. Institutional policies and procedures will also be standardized and closely monitored to ensure a safer, more consistent, and more professional environment across the board. At the same time, we're preparing for the future. As we invest in our current personnel, we're also beginning the process of recruiting and building additional staff capacity. This dual approach ensures that we're not only improving the present, but also actively preparing for the operational demands of the new facility. Multiple efforts are taking place at once, leveling up our staff, enhancing rehabilitation services, and expanding our workforce, because the success of our efforts requires both vision and readiness. This is not a standalone effort. Before signing this agreement, I convened a strategic meeting with local partners and representatives from an Aruba-based organization called Turco Está Posible. Everything is possible in English. They operate using EU-funded rehabilitation programs that they successfully deploy within the prison in Aruba. These initiatives use various tools for inmates' rehabilitation and reintegration at no additional cost for the government. They have been proven effective in Aruba, and with the help of local partners such as the St. Martin Development Fund, the SMDF, we're exploring how to adapt and integrate aspects of that model here at home in St. Martin. Together, these initiatives reflect our broader policy agenda, building a justice system that is grounded in the rule of law, professional in its execution, and human in its design. A system that the people of St. Martin can trust and can take pride in. We're not only transforming our facilities, we're also transforming our approach. And the Advanced SXM initiative, as it's been coined, is a clear example of that commitment. With that being said, the prison construction is scheduled to begin in Q4 of this year. And that marks, for me, I guess, a major step in moving forward as we continue to strengthen our justice system. Additional information about the prison construction will be shared with the public as we move through that process. And again, just endeavoring to provide constant updates. And that was it in terms of prepared remarks, but I'm of course available to spend the time answering questions.
Minister, I applaud the initiative of signing these agreements, but seeing things done, getting things done, for me, it speaks another story. Constantly we're getting complaints from the prison. I mean, the situation in there is horrible, but yet prisoners are claiming that you're not listening to them. They are like expressing their feelings. And I'm not talking about just the ankle bracelet and getting free on ankle bracelet, because we know this is has been spoken about a lot. But the actual situation, the safety, the security, the shorter staff, you know, all of this is plaguing them. The lack of training or even programs for them to develop themselves, come out of prison as a better person. We talk about it, we sign agreements, but nothing happened. UNOPS, for the longest while, I'm hearing about UNOPS, the prison construction. Now it's Q4 again. I mean, it's like we're signing agreements, but nothing is happening. What are you going to do differently to actually kick off these programs?
Yeah. So, the unfortunately, progress takes time. And a lot of times it's small steps that eventually make up to one thing. And I think that one way that I've approached looking at running this ministry is it feels like like a container ship is moving, and you can't turn a container ship right away. You have to adjust the path very, very slowly. And I think that's what we're doing here as well. And yes, UNOPS, a lot of times these processes take time, especially here in government, that I've learned as well, coming from the private sector. That's been an adjustment, of course, and having to follow bureaucracy and all the red tape and the rules. But UNOPS is actually on schedule with the timelines that were agreed upon then. And what we're trying to do now is communicate those more so that people don't think, oh, well, we heard about something once, but then we didn't get any more updates. And initially, we did have a couple months delay in the UNOPS in the construction because the way that the tender was initially launched earlier this year was unsuccessful, which meant that they had to go back to the drawing board and tender in a different way. So right now, we're actually in the final phases of negotiating the contract with the contractor that scored the best out of that. And that process is ongoing. And I've been told by those involved in that process that within the next week, they hope to come to an agreement with that contractor. And on the back end, of course, we're ensuring that UNOPS can register its office here, that their staff have residency, that we're also dealing as a council of ministers with, okay, how do we facilitate the immediate construction? We're busy with ROMI for the building permit. That's basically in the approval stage right now. Besides that, we're also looking at once a company is selected, how do we help them mobilize as quickly as possible here, which is why we're thinking, okay, Q4, sometime October, November, we hope that they can actually start the construction up there. And then, of course, we have an entire PR campaign going with that because it will be a nuisance to the community up there as well. And those are all elements that had to be considered in selecting a contractor as well. You can't just come there. You have people still in the space. You have to look, how do I minimize noise? How do I minimize nuisance for the area? So all of these things had to be taken into account, which is why it's taken a little bit longer than we would have liked. But actually, it is in accordance with the timelines, give or take, maybe now a 3-month delay because of the failed tender earlier this year. So that's the situation with UNOPS. And initially, the agreement with UNODC was not supposed to start for another year or two. And what I did, because I actually did listen to the cries and the complaints from the inmates, is I've continued to say I have an obligation as Minister of Justice to the individuals that are detained now. I cannot tell them, oh, just wait, we're going to have a new prison in 2 years. I can't tell them that. And that's the reason that now we went and digged and looked and had to get very creative with funding to be able to have UNODC start sooner, because I told them this year, you need to give me something that I can do for the people. And besides that, which is why I've also brought in, and I went to Aruba, I went to see what they're doing over there. I spoke to this foundation, Tur Costa Posible, when I was there in Aruba, actually. I invited them to come here, to come and see the prison, to speak to SMDF, because SMDF has similar certifications that can allow them to do the same type of work, that we can leverage their network, so that we could look, hopefully within the coming months, can we bring trainees here? The way that the program works in Aruba, for example, they bring trainees from Europe that then come for 6 weeks and they're volunteers. And also the prison staff, the prisoners get paid just like the volunteers do in those programs as well. So they come in, let's say for 6 weeks, they make jewelry, they paint a mural, and then you have constant programs. Because a lot of times the issues that we have here is we have a program in the prison that's dependent on a single individual, and that person leaves and then the program is gone. And what we're trying to do is how can we build a system also in Point Blanche that is not dependent on an individual, on a person, that and all of a sudden they can't have it anymore. And that's what we saw with woodworking that was happening at some point. Of course, then the workshop got destroyed, but then you also have no person to come in and do it. So these are all little things that we're looking at. How do we build a system that will last? And I know it's not from one day to the next, but I did get an update. At least the GD program was one that had been delayed after the fire. That was because the internet cable coming into that classroom was severely damaged and we were having difficulty getting that repaired. And I was told that, a workaround was being sought, and at least from this week, they were hoping to be able to reinstate those GED programs. But then unfortunately, we also have that not many of the inmates take part in that GED program. I think it's a very small group. But so this is, we're taking steps, and I know that we would like to see overnight change. But, unfortunately, it's, we have to take these steps. I would love tomorrow to hire more staff, but then I have issues if it goes to finance. They say, but you don't have formation, you don't have to. So there's so many different steps that we need to it's a big chessboard and a puzzle. So we're taking the steps, and I want to assure, even any of the inmates that are listening, that I do listen to them and that I do hear them, and I'm working very hard to fix these things for them. And one of the things, when I visited the prison just after the fire, they told me, Minister, we have nothing to do. Minister, we just sitting up here. And, and I said, it's unfortunate now I have to fix a place that now all my energy is going into a facility that y'all burnt down to now fix it, that it's humane for you to be able to, it's healthy for you to be able to stay in here. While all of that energy was energy I was actually spending to find things for them to do, to find a way for them to reintegrate. And all of this is part of that program. And I know it's not a today to tomorrow thing, but I am very excited and very proud of the steps that we're taking. And I feel like we're building a foundation that can stand up and that we can use over time.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, Com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
It's a pleasure being invited to participate in this training program for the community councils. My background, some of you may know, I'm from the lovely island of Jamaica, but I've lived in St. Martin for over 20 years. It's home. I've invested more time and energy into this, my second home, than I've been privileged to do in my first home. And so with my entire family being here and having also the privilege of being married to a daughter of the soil, I have extra incentive to invest in the development of our community. I've spent most of my adult years in youth and community development, from things such as right here at the University of St. Martin, being the president of the Student Government Association for a couple of terms, also from the youth wing of Victorious Living Foundation. I was president of Youth to Extreme. Started my own foundation, Gifted Foundation, which focused on youth and community development as well. And now, thankfully, I'm working what I consider my dream job. I'm primarily a consultant for youth and community development in general, but my dream job for the past 4.5 years, my main occupation has been a youth advocate, working on youth participation with UNICEF Netherlands. And when invited, I have a long-standing relationship with the Department of Community Development and Community Development, Family and Humanitarian Affairs. I got it. We're providing technical support and trainings, and so I was, again, honored by the invitation to come and present to the community councils on these topics of program management and effective meeting minutes. As I said, just a teaser, just to underscore it. I will start off with the effective meeting minutes. In school, I was not the best note taker. I'm an auditory learner, and so my learning takes place when I engage with the instructor. I ask questions, answer questions, and as long as we're talking, I'm learning. But then I would remember even being here at the university, and I sit in the science class over there at an instructor, Mr. Delroy Pierre, and he would give all these lessons, and I had my classmates sit next to me. And when it's study time, again, the talking is how I learn, and teaching. So I would sit with them and take their notes and teach during study time. And their notes, they had, where I had 5 lines, they had 5 pages. And so as much as I could rely on my memory and my learning, their good notes made it so much more effective. So I have an appreciation for effective note-taking. And then through my work with the NGO sector, I've developed even so much more than appreciation for not just the legal purpose of effective minutes, but also the practical purposes of effective minutes. So on one hand, you probably get tired of it in your community councils, why you have to take these meetings. Some people even read the minutes every meeting, and you probably get a little, disgusted by it. But it has good purpose, and so we want to make sure that we underscore how practical it is, and when you do it right. And then program management, I think that's a cornerstone of what you're doing. I heard the announcement of this as a pilot project, and I know sometimes we get jaded by the whole projects and pilots, and we want to implement programs, something that is more sustainable. But if you're going to implement programs, if you're going to come up with your visions and your ideas and execute them for the long term, the management of those programs, having the right skill set, the people in the right places is essential. Having the right preview of all the logistics that should be in place. So we'll get into those in as concise a way as possible, but making it effective. So I look forward to meeting with you for those trainings.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxp.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah, your social and health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
Reactions this afternoon to news coming out of the U.S. of a 12-month pilot program which will make it more expensive to travel to the States. Under the new terms, visa applicants for both business and tourism travel from some countries will be required to post a bond of up to $15,000 to enter the country. Details in this report.
In a move that may make the process unaffordable for many, a notice was published in the U.S. Federal Register to start a 12-month pilot program under which countries deemed to have high overstay rates and deficient internal document security controls could be required to post a bond of up to $15,000 when they apply for a visa. That works out to approximately $2 million Jamaican dollars. The move comes as the Trump administration moves to clamp down on illegal migrants. So what does this mean for Jamaicans? U.S. Immigration Attorney Wayne Golding provided this assessment.
As far as Jamaica is concerned, Jamaica has not been placed on that list as far as we know. But this rule that's going to be put in place is quite discretionary. So things are fluid. They can change within the time period. It's a policy that's put in place by the administration. It's not a law that was passed in Congress per se, like the big beautiful bill.
The Big Beautiful Bill currently includes a $250 fee for persons applying for a U.S. visa. Mr. Golding, however, explained that this proposal is fluid and adjustments will be made along the way.
U.S. immigration policy in the past had been about family reunification, bringing the brightest and best here, and also encouraging visitors to come to the United States. Now we're seeing the shift to where it's all about a pocketbook, so to speak. It's been long the practice of the United States to use fees as a basis of granting or being able to apply for certain immigration benefits. So technically there's no change, but they're using it in a totally different way.
The program does not apply to citizens of 42 countries enrolled in the Visa Waiver Program for the United States. Jamaica is not a part of the Visa Waiver Program. In the meantime, the pilot program is set to take effect soon.
The program is slated to start on August 20th, 2025 this year. And it's a pilot program which is really supposed to end on August 5th, 2026. And, this particular program applies to what we call tourist visas and business visas.
Nakinski Robinson, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, U.S. immigration attorney Kevon Miller says persons who qualify for the pilot program can have their bond fee waived or cancelled if they meet the criteria. He elaborated on the guarantee in getting their money back.
There will be folks who abide by or adhere by the rules that are stipulated in regards to these bonds. And let us look at it from a different perspective. Just as how you would go to a criminal court and you are here in the United States, you're asked to post a monetary bond. That monetary bond is to ensure that you abide by all the rules and the guidelines surrounding the bond itself. When that case is terminated in your favor, when it's terminated, then that money is returned to you. So too will it be in this immigration situation, where if it is that you indicated to the United States government that you're coming here on business or you're coming here on pleasure and you will be spending X amount of time and you adhere by that, then yes, you should be refunded.